Hey, everybody.
Hello? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you're everybody in this instance.
Thank you.
You and the dog.
Okay, yeah, fair.
I always assume I'm addressing a crowd.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming to this town hall meeting. Anyway, this town hall meeting and also the audio editions of Caravan of Garbage are this time brought to you by lootcrate.com, or as I like to call it, lootcrate.com.
Correct, you do. Lootcrate.com/weekly.
You said lootcrate as well.
Lootcrate.com/weeklyplanet. If you visit that page and use that thing that we just said, you get bloody $3 off any box, mate.
That's right.
And I say any box because there are more than one to choose from, Mason. There's a gaming one, there's regular Loot Crate, there's a bit of a fancy schmancy one called Loot Crate DX, there's Loot Pets, Loot Wear, whatever you want. Whatever you want, Mason. But you can't have them all.
Oh.
You can choose one, and then maybe for your birthday. But
Great, thanks.
And that's what it is. It's like a gift for yourself,
Isn't it though, right?
Yeah. Well, so if you visit lootcrate.com/weeklyplanet, it's linked below.
$3 off.
Appreciate it.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to... Wait, I'll start again. Hey, everybody, and welcome... Wait, no.
Perfect.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Weekly Planet's Caravan of Garbage, where we look at an old thing. Is it good? Probably not, because it's old. Well, name a good thing that's also old. You can't. Your granddad? No good.
Get him out of here. You probably murdered somebody in a war.
That's right. Anyway, this week, speaking of things that are old and maybe good, but they're actually not good.
Great.
I decided to check out, and since we're doing it's Star Wars, we're doing it's Star Wars.
A trilogy
themed.
of Star Wars themed
trilogy?
episodes. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Don't you worry about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Just checking. All right. So this week, I decided I should check out the first episode. I have memories of maybe seeing little bits of this as a kid, maybe.
Right.
But I decided to check out the first episode of Star Wars Droids.
Right.
The Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO.
I believe, is this the first ever animated Star Wars piece? No, there's a bit in that terrible holiday special.
The less said about it, the better.
Sure.
Yeah. But so this week I decided I'd check out the first one.
Exciting.
So first of all, C-3PO and R2-D2.
Great.
The great characters.
Did they get both of their voices back?
Well, look, they certainly got Anthony Daniels as the voice of C-3PO. And for R2-D2, I assume like a Casio keyboard or something like that.
Right.
Be weird to get out. You know, you get the call up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Hey, you want to do the voice of this? What about? Yeah, I'd love to. What about my good old friend Kenny Baker? Is he?
No,
No.
he's not
Can we put him in like some sort of? Could we put him in a garbage can and have him rattle back and forth just for some foley? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But no, the answer's no. First thing I noticed is this. Oh, I'm gonna dig it up. This
Please
is gonna
do.
be great. This is Star Wars, so it's gonna have a
That's
great.
the first thing you noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course it's gonna have some great music.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, all the Star Wars movies have
spectacular
soundtrack.
Even the bad movies have great soundtracks.
Yeah, you've got the great John Williams and all the Star Wars movies. So
living legend.
From this theme song, we get Stuart Copeland from The Police. They've roped him in somehow, and his theme song is called Trouble Again, and it's like a Huey Lewis and the News style pop song with lyrics.
Great.
About getting into trouble again. Would you like to hear some?
Please
of it?
tell me you've got that ready to go.
I've got it ready to go. Stuart Copeland from The Police, ladies and gentlemen.
No weapon in my hand.
They're droids that don't have any weapons,
He sounds like Sting.
right?
Yeah.
It's just this phrase designed by man. Got me trouble again.
And I have to wonder, and R2-D2 is himself, you have to wonder how they got...
Slap in the face.
Yes, you have to wonder how they got him. And I assume they went, hey, Stuart Copeland of The Police, famous
Yeah.
band The Police, do you want to do some music for Star Wars?
Mm.
All right, and this came out in like late 1985.
Yeah.
And what we also got in 1985, middle of 1985, was Back to the Future.
I thought you were going to say Dune, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
go on.
so, and I think what they did is they went, okay, he went, oh, maybe this is my chance. I'll make a little pop song.
This is my Huey Lewis
This is my
moment.
Power of Love moment.
Yes.
And then he's like, absolutely, sign on the dotted line. And then they're like, all right, here it is, opening theme to droids, and he's like, oh, what?
That to me sounds like that they would have put some money behind this. So does the animation reflect that for the time?
You know, it kind of does.
Okay, then.
Yeah. I mean, other things maybe not so much.
Sure.
So we open up. I've decided to provide you with a visual feast
Please do.
for the senses. So we open up in orbit of the planet Ingo.
Right.
Which now Star Wars is famous for all kinds of varieties of planets.
Yeah, they
what,
are, aren't
What
they?
kind of planet do you think Ingo is?
Ice planet?
Desert planet. Surprise.
They got me.
They got you. Which is perfect, I think, because especially with the animation of the time, what you want is a yellowish desert planet, which is the perfect contrast to like a yellowish kind of droid.
Sure.
Really stands out. You know what I mean? Anyway, we follow like this trail of debris down to the planet Ingo.
Right.
And we discover a twerking C-3PO. He's doing a
What?
little bit of a twerk.
Yeah.
He's twerking back and forth. He's been jettisoned onto the planet by his previous owner, a smuggler.
When are these set?
These are set before episode 4.
So his life is just a series of being jettisoned onto desert planets.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Okay, then.
And so this era, they've seen some stuff like already. Like they've seen dismemberments, they've seen murders, they've seen all sorts of stuff. But anyway, so they were won in a card game by this smuggler naming no names. But I mean, it has to be Han Solo or Orlando because there are no other smugglers in the Star Wars
Sure, well, it
universe.
seems that
So
way.
it's gotta be one of those guys. Anyway, and he's like, and he's lamenting the death of R2D2 because he can't find him. He's like, you miracle of modern technology, you're a prince among droids, I miss you kind of thing, or whatever. And then he comes out of the sand and he's like, you piece of garbage, I hate you. I hate your guts, you dumb droid, I hate you. But anyway, so they're like, what are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden this land speeder rocks up.
Right.
In fact, two land speeders rock up. These two best of pals. There's Thor.
Right.
This is Thor.
What a haircut.
He's a cool all-American dude.
Sure.
Of space.
Is his haircut a snake?
Well, it's a red mohawk ponytail, and he's a cool all-American dude who's fully committed to like being asymmetrical. Right. So like he's missing half of his hair.
Oh, right.
His outfit's only got one sleeve.
Yep.
I assume he's only wearing one sock. I mean, they don't wear underwear in the Star Wars universe, but I assume maybe one sock.
Yeah.
He's breaking with tradition. So there's Thor, and then there's his best pal Jord, who's funny fat guy.
What is?
It's Thor and Jord.
It took me a while to work out what is going on with that guy's head, but I figured it out in the end.
It's a thumb. He's got a
it's
thumb
a thumb.
head.
Yeah.
Right. And anyway, so C-3PO does his classic, I'm a protocol droid,
Right,
I'm
that
here
bit,
to serve and know a million languages. And they're like, it's an astromech droid! R2-D2, get this gold thing out of the way. We need this astromech droid. So they're like, they pile him in. There's a lot of, this show has a lot of C-3PO pratfalls.
Right.
There's at least 4 in this.
That's too many. How long is this?
23 minutes?
That's too many.
Could have fit in one more, I think.
Okay, fair enough. That's
Anyway,
not enough.
Right. So anyway, but they're like, okay, let's get this back to home base kind of
Right.
thing. Let's get astromech and C-3PO to some extent back to home base kind of thing. But they end up going through like the forbidden zone, the restricted zone.
Why would you?
Well, I mean, you live there. Why would you? Exactly. Why would you? In many ways, it's a real dumb move. But all these bloody seeker droids pop out, like these floating spheres that are gonna come out.
Are they Imperial? Is that why it's
Well,
forbidden?
No.
Oh.
We'll soon see though,
Sure.
won't we? Yeah. How dare you assume that?
I apologise.
No, that's quite all right. Anyway, and they're coming up on Jord, right?
Yeah.
Big fat party animal Jord, and he's like, all right, oh man, I'm done for. I got to get out of here, right? And he hits a little button on his belt there. This is
Yeah.
my favorite move, and he ejects, and his outfit expands into like a
jelly bean.
He turns into a giant jelly bean, a giant springy jelly bean, right? Pretty great, right? And
How is he getting away with that though? How is that faster than staying in the speeder?
I'm throwing up my hands in defeat. I don't know.
This thumb's an idiot.
Yeah, right. But he survives. Right. This is bloody droid.
That's a droid?
Yeah, it's like a tank droid.
Okay, sure.
Right. So they're being pursued by these tank droids, right? But and we think maybe it's curtains for them, but then we see they're being observed by this brave desert warrior of some sort.
The distance.
Who could it be, right?
Nobody important
Well,
in the Star Wars universe? Boba Fett?
No, it's not. It's nobody important in the Star Wars universe. Spoiler alert! It really isn't.
Oh,
right.
man.
So anyway, they're all in a heckin' bit of trouble, right? So C-3PO's like, oh no, I'll. We're just gonna do Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Everybody's Obi-Wan
It's
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi in this universe.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'll back away. I'll take care of this, and he grabs a rock. Here's a bit of classic Mr. Magoo style
This guy
misdirection.
can't grab shit. His fingers don't work.
That's what I'm talking
Anyway,
about.
sorry.
He grabs a rock from the ground, right? And he hurls it. He hurls it just as our mysterious figure is like shooting a laser at
Right.
the tank mech, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he hits it with a rock and it explodes and he's like, "Oh,
I did it.
I did it." And then of course
I don't think droids are cool with killing other droids.
that's what
generally.
I'm talking about. There's some weird this show takes some weird liberties.
Yeah, I mean some do, but he doesn't.
C-3PO becomes this weird man of action in this.
Okay,
Weird droid of action, and I do not. I don't know about it, man. But anyway, so then we see the big reveal. The mysterious brave warrior, desert warrior, is in fact a pretty
A
lady.
beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman. Look, in
Interesting.
many ways, when in watching this episode, I'm like, oh, this has a lot of parallels to like future Star Wars things.
That's like kind of a Rey thing.
But then I'm like, it's probably just a coincidence. You know what I mean? Anyway, he's there. He's surveying the rubble, the
He's
mayhem
like,
that
look
he's
at-
wrought.
look at
and
the
he's
good
like,
work I
right.
did.
And then and Thor and Jord are like, you did it, man. You're the best. He just magoos his way through it, right? Right. Cut
he
to
Boba Fett's his way through it.
bloody oath he does. Right. So cut to the owner of the droids, local crime lord Tig From, or as he's referred to as by his underling, Tiggy. Little subplot, he hates being called Tiggy.
I was going to say, that's not something you'd call your boss.
No, well, see, that's the thing. So Tig is actually the son of a very renowned crime boss.
so he's got a bit of-
Size from.
Size from.
Size from.
Yeah,
You think it's a pun. It's one of those names you think it's going to be a pun.
but it's not.
It's not a pun.
I'm thinking, they would have been out of names by then, wouldn't they?
Exactly, you're right.
They
Well,
had to,
yeah.
they had to spend like a decade thinking of more names. Like Qui-Gon Jinn.
So good.
Go on.
But anyway, so they're like, oh, who are these troublemakers? They're going to interfere with our plans to. Oh, I'm so upset.
Oh, he
There's
is
my
ups-
upset face.
He looks like the villain from bloody She-Ra.
Hordak.
Yeah, Hordak. I was going to say Hordak, but I didn't think I was right.
He's a little bit Hordak light or pre-Hordak, depending on when She-Ra came out.
Absolutely.
Who even knows? But here's the underling, and he's all like, oh.
He's also a thumb. It's
Yes, exactly. But they're like, oh, what were these people doing? What were they doing here? We're gonna, they're here to interfere with our plans. We're gonna defeat all the other gang lords. We're gonna defeat Jabba the Hutt and etc.
Oh.
using our super weapon.
What is that?
They built a super weapon.
But what is it
It's
specifically?
called the Trigon. It's some sort of satellite weapon. I looked it up because I'm like, I'll get the wiki for this.
Yeah. The Wookiee, you mean?
Yes, the Wikipedia, very good.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Well,
Yeah. All right. So Trigon 1, manufactured by the From Gang,
Yep.
class weapons satellite.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Technical specifications: armament, planet-destroying weapon. Parentheses claimed, never actually seen destroying a planet. So spoiler alert. None of that.
So these guys may have had planet-destroying weapons.
Correct.
Wow. So I guess it's just freely available, or they're lying.
I mean, it looks pretty impressive, right? It's got that bit of a seashell curve to it. Looks
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
It's
sure.
got that little. Could
When,
be
does it shoot from a standing, like,
never actually used. Who's to say? Right? You know what I mean?
man?
Yeah. But anyway, so the boys.
If you worked on the show,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. But also, tell me what that was supposed to do.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's Chekhov's Trigon 1, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
If you show Trigon 1 in the first act, you got to use Trigon 1 by the third act, otherwise you just waste everybody's time.
C-3PO didn't pick up that rock and then put it back down.
And then we never see him throw the rock. Exactly,
yeah.
So anyway, the boys, Thor and Jord, and C-3PO and R2-D2, the boys, they all get to,
Yeah.
they head back to the workshop, right? And we learn a bit about Thor and Jord. They're these two dudes, right? Mm-hmm. And they want to get in the land speeder races, which are off planet, right? That's
Right.
been their whole goal. They need an astromech droid to help pilot the land speeder, because that's what you need in the races, apparently.
Okay.
Little nod to pod racing, or it's a coincidence. It's a coincidence, right? And they're like, oh man, George, sorry you lost your land speeder, because you had to eject into your weird jelly bean orange costume, and he's like, no problem, but I've still got the White Witch, which is their bloody. They've built a legendary land speeder, the White Witch, right?
It's got some like goat horns on the side.
Yeah, it's because it's legendary,
Or
man.
ram
right?
horns.
Yeah, right. And anyway, Thor and the boys, Thor and C-3PO and R2-D2, they dash out for a little bit, right?
Right.
And then they're out for like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then some of bloody the gang lords drones, their droids show up and bloody sneak Jord away. They just grab him. They're like, this is one little orange jelly bean lad we want for ourselves. We need he's the best land speeder dude in the land. We're gonna take him, kind of thing, right?
He's not the best pilot, clearly, but he's the best builder.
I guess, yeah.
'Cause
There's some gaps in this universe.
Certainly.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this scary grabber droid.
That looks like it's designed specifically for kidnapping.
For kidnapping, exactly. Yeah. Well, you would, wouldn't you? You know, if you're doing a lot of kidnapping, why would you? Yeah. But anyway, right. So Thor and C-3PO and R2-D2, they're like, this was a little suspicious. Let's go back to the workshop. All right. Pratfall.
Nice.
C-3PO Pratfall. Right. But then they show
his
back.
butt.
Yeah. So then they go back to the workshop and they're like, he's gone. They've taken him. We've got to get him back. Pratfall.
God.
C-3PO
Like immediate
Pratfall. He's
Pratfall.
got a bucket on his head.
Very good.
Yep. And then they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. But then they go outside, right? And they go to bloody start up their one remaining land speeder.
Is it the good one?
No, it's the regular one.
Oh.
White Witch is still in the workshop,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
But then all of a sudden they're being surrounded by kidnap bots. Bloody kidnap bots, right? Just bloody as far as the eye can see. And all he's got is this weird glowing Q-tip kind
What
of
is that?
situation. It's a giant ear.
It's for cleaning your space toilet.
It's for cleaning out the sarlacc. It's ear, you know what I mean? You need that, right? But then they're like, oh, what do we do? Right? And then bloody... Oh, wait, there's a bit. You might have to edit around this.
Sure, that's all right.
Okay, so anyway, the mysterious warrior lady shows up.
Right.
And she's like, hey, it's me.
What's her name?
Kia is her name. Like the car.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and so she shows up and she's like,
Rey's original name was Kira.
oh,
I think there might be
definitely a
more-
nod or a coincidence. It's
I don't
almost
know.
certainly a
Anyway, sorry,
coincidence.
go on.
Anyway, she shows up and she's like, I'm just a regular person. I was lost in the desert and I heard you guys were mechanics. So I'm just here to maybe you guys can help me out.
That's
This
nice.
is before Jord gets kidnapped.
Right.
It's
Gotcha.
before that. Maybe check it in. Or just
Okay.
leave it here. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
I mean, in a grand scheme of things, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, they're like, oh man, Thor, you're bloody surrounded by kidnap bots. What are you going to do? And then she's like, R2-D2, help him out. And they grab the bloody White Witch and they do a swift getaway. Look at that.
Nice.
Look how swift it is.
That is swift.
It's real swift. You know what I mean?
That's as swift as it gets.
Yeah. Now, the best thing about the White Witch is we see throughout the episode is it's primarily good as a battering ram.
Nice.
Like this beautiful
This
custom
sleek and
built ram.
elegant.
Yeah, it's just
designed
for,
for
just for
speed.
smashing robots and stuff, just knocking them over, right? And so they're like, okay, well we've found the secret base. We've found the gang lord's secret base.
Right.
It's never really established how.
They just did, I guess.
They just did, and they're like, okay, we got to get in there, right?
Yeah.
And so cut to R2-D2 doing a little bit of his classic computer
Yeah, he can do
manipulation
that.
kind of situation, right?
Yep.
And they're like, how do we get R2-D2 out of there? And they're like, the same way we got him in, misdirection. First of all, we never see them get him in. It's just, there's a whole scene missing. But anyway, so they're just like, all right, we'll do that. And then they just show up at the front of, they like zip in front of the sentry droids, the tank droids.
Okay.
And then the gates open so they can send out some more tank droids.
Right.
And then R2-D2 just sneaks out.
Just rolls out.
Just rolls out kind of thing. And
Okay.
they're like, okay, we've got all the data. Let's go back in again. It's very...
What?
Yeah, I know, right? See, they're checking out the data.
Okay, sure.
Let them check out the data, right? So, smash cut to Star Wipe 2.
Yes.
Inside the base, we got the greasy henchman.
Yep.
We've got Jord. He's in there. He's just in there cracking wise because he's a big fat party animal.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Those guys are two peas in a pod, mate.
Yeah, he's like, he gives it a bit of, hey man, nice suit. And the guy shoves him onto a seat and he's like, nice seat. You know that classic wordplay?
Very good.
Yeah, it's good, right? It's pretty excellent, right? And then the gang lord shows up and he's like, oh, I'm gonna send you off world to bloody work on my something or others, I don't know.
Whatever I do.
Yeah, whatever I do, exactly, right? And then Jord's like, oh, you're not the great gang lord I've heard so much about. You're just his son, I don't care. And he puts his feet up on the desk.
It's a bold maneuver.
Bold maneuver, right? Exactly, yeah. And he's like, all right, wait, I've lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
No, it's...
I'll edit all around it.
No, never edit it. Oh no, so he's like, and so our gang lord friend, he sort of spills the beans. He's going to plan to use the super weapon,
Right.
to kill all the other gangs, and then
And
take
societies
all
and
and
planets
societies
and
and take all their
worlds and- yeah,
territory.
sure.
Presumably, we never know. We don't ever know if it works. Yeah. So, this gang lord, like, he explains his plot, and he explains that he doesn't trust humans. That's why all his mechanisms are like droids.
Okay,
He's
sure.
like, I build droids. I'm the best.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And then George's giving him a bit too much lip, and so the henchman just shoves him over and like shoves him onto the couch, like into the ground. And then he's like,
Nice couch.
"Yeah, no," but then he's like, "Couldn't get a droid to do that." I'm fairly confident you could.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a pretty basic maneuver.
Right. So anyway, the good guys, the remaining, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna sneak."
Maybe he means be spiteful.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
Couldn't
true.
get a
No, they
droid
could
to-
also be
You're
spiteful.
right. Yeah, you're right.
They run the gamut of emotions, these droids.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the good guys are like, okay, we're gonna sneak into this base, right? And Kier's like, how are we gonna get through this door here? Like, there's no way in, right? And Thor's
The
like,
door that R2D2 just went through.
yeah. But then Thor's like, oh no, I've got a way. So this guy came back in the day for us to work on one of his ships, one of his speeders, and he
Yeah.
never came back, and he just left this in here. It's a bloody lightsaber. you know that. He just left it in his speeder. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know that weapon that represents your journey
Sure.
of training to become a Jedi.
Absolutely.
And you build it, and it's the most incredible high technology that
It's
cannot
the
be.
most important thing that you own.
Anyway, just left it in his speeder. I think it was in the glove box or behind the seats or something like that. Anyway, so he just uses it to like whack down some doors and stuff. And he's like, "Let's get in the speeder or get out of here." And he's like, "Okay, Kia, C-3PO, you gotta monitor this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go through all the ducts and all the tunnels.
Right.
You gotta team up and you gotta get me through all this sort of stuff, right?"
Schematics.
Yeah, there's some schematics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Is that like a computer game?
Well, there's a lot of
Pac-Man.
there's a lot of flipping switches. There's a
Right,
lot of,
right.
and he's sneaking through, the tunnels and what have you. And then all of a sudden, a droid shows up in the maintenance
Sure.
room, and Kieran, C-3PO are like, and C-3PO's like, "Oh, I've got this. We're the maintenance crew."
Hits him with a rock.
And the droid's like, "No, I'm the maintenance crew." And he's like, "Well, we're security." And then the security droid shows up. So he's like, "So we're and then there's just a scuffle. There's a scuffle. People are mounting droids. There's just some hurling about, and then they do the classic move, I feel, which is just get the two droids to run into each other,
Nice.
and they explode.
Of course.
Yeah.
What a well-built droid.
Exactly right. Anyway, so Thor gets to Jord's prison cell that he's
Yep,
being stored
sure.
in, right?
Haircut gets to Thumb's prison cell.
Oh, I should have been calling it haircut and thumbs. God damn it. Thumbs belly bumps some droids out of the way.
Nice.
Into a storage closet. Haircut uses his lightsaber to just cut Thumb's bonds open.
That looks like he does that real kind of loosey.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Like for a weapon that he's never wielded before that you need decades of training to master.
Right, exactly,
Just
yeah.
swinging it about.
Yeah. So anyway, our crime lord's watching it all on the monitors. He's very unhappy.
That's a very 80s thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like a villain watching a thing on a monitor. happening.
Exactly. And he's like, "I'm going to get these guys. Everybody, all my droids, go to Sector 5. And then C-3PO does the unprecedented move of just going on the comm system and going, actually, all droids to Sector 6. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And they just zip back, you know what I mean?
He's got some skills.
He's got some skills. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Initiative.
Yeah. And then our gang lord activates all kinds of more security systems, and there's lasers going off, kind of thing.
Right.
But then he's like, "We gotta get these guys before the lasers destroy the building," because he's not really thought this through. You know what I mean? Right? And then more security droids show up in the maintenance hatch.
Yep.
And C-3PO pretends to be holding Kia hostage.
Very good.
Which is a good move,
Yeah.
but also I think a very cowardly move.
He's not a kidnapping droid.
No, and exactly, but he is a user woman as a human shield droid.
Okay, fair
You know
enough,
what I mean?
yeah.
Right,
I'll
exactly.
pay that.
Right, and they get away from that, right? And then they're like, "All right, what we're going to need to do? Like, we can't escape because there's all these." The gang lord's like, "Okay, activate more droids. I got some flying like gunboat droids outside.
Sure.
Gonna activate those. Get them out there.
Yep.
Get them out there." And then they're all covering all the escape routes, right? And then they're like, "How do we get out of this? All right, what we're gonna do? We'll activate the tank droids.
Right.
The tank droids will go out and fight the flying droids."
Makes sense.
And they'll all just kill each other and we'll escape in the ensuing madness. That'll work, right?
Yeah.
And so they're all trapped, they're under fire, and then they're like, okay, C-3PO, get out, you gotta activate the controls, you gotta activate those tank droids, right? And so they send him out there, right?
Pratfall?
Nearly. So he goes out and there's this control panel and he doesn't understand it. There's so many buttons he can't operate. He can't lift the panel or whatever.
Sure.
And he finds it like there's a turret gun and it's following back and forth because there's just turret guns just in this building, just blowing everybody up.
Yeah, I guess
Just-
so.
Yeah,
Sure.
just slowly destroying the building, right? And he's like, "Oh, I've got an idea," and he just sort of. He goes in front of the panel and then he leaps past it and it just blows him up. It just blows up the panel and then leaving him only
very
with
good.
one button behind the panel. That he just presses and it activates all the tank droids, right?
Amazing.
And they head out into the wilderness,
Yeah.
the desert wilderness, and the tank droids and the sentry droids and the bloody seeker orbs and all this sort of stuff are just destroying each other, which is the perfect opportunity to just fly out through the middle of them.
Beautiful. Right in the line of fire.
Right in the line of fire,
Just
right?
straight through.
Yeah. And so they get out there, they finally make their escape, and we cut back to our gang lord who's very...
Oh, he's crying.
He's crying. He's openly weeping in his seat. And he's like, oh, I guess relying on a whole bunch of droids that were programmed to kill everything, including themselves, was not the goal. Was not the smartest move to have ever made.
Right.
Anyway, they get out of there. They've got their astromech droid. They find themselves a ship. They become the new crew of this ship, right?
Fantastic.
And they're like, okay, we're gonna get out of there. We're gonna make our way to this new planet. We're gonna become the kings of bloody land speeder racing. And then one more pratfall.
For good
I
measure.
can't remember the context of this one. I assume he's just surprised by something, or there's some slight movement in the ship, and then he just falls over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you reckon of that as a show?
Look, you know what? As a kid's show,
Yes?
I would have loved that.
Right? Yeah. It has its moments.
Yeah. Like there's some parts.
You would
in
have
it-
loved the Stuart Copeland opening theme song.
Yeah, I love that now. So
Yeah,
almost
right?
certainly, yeah. I love the haircuts.
Yep, great.
I love the parallels to episode 7. I've just got here. There's a character that shows up later in this series called Gear Kaibo Rencha.
Wow.
Maybe
So
this isn't a coincidence. All of this stuff. It can't all be, can it? And then
Yes,
again, you throw
it could-
together so many random
syllables.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's the random syllable show.
Yeah.
Just throw a whole bunch together and you've got yourself a whole amazing cast of characters.
Absolutely. Yeah. So was this a show that you would continue watching?
Ooh, maybe I'll give it one more.
I don't believe you.
No, right? You saw right through me.
Great. Good stuff, Mason.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week for another episode of Caravan of
Yeah,
Garbage,
more
Star
Star
Wars
Wars stuff.
Spectacular. Now, if you're on the audio version of this, if you go on to the YouTube channel that's linked below, there's you're gonna see all the pictures of all the things that happened. Even better in a way. I feel.
Are you going to redraw all of them by
I'll
hand?
have to, yeah, for copyright's sake. Yeah, but that'll be a good fun time.
And re-record that song. You could probably get Stuart Copeland.
I reckon I could.
Yeah, he lives in the next building.
The police are probably broken up at the moment. They're always probably broken up.
Right.
Yeah. But no, we appreciate you watching and or listening. Thank you very much. Like we said, we'll be back one more time. Oh yeah. In preparation for Rogue One.
Oh yeah. Grab it, jam, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.